let's talk about the other side of best places to live. The places where, if you look like me, you might want to think twice before booking a trip. Today, we're diving into 11 U.S. cities with reputations for being less than welcoming to Black Americans. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness and making informed choices for your safety. As we go through this list, share your experiences in the comments, and let's keep it respectful. All right, let's get into it. 11 U.S. cities that have some explaining to do. First up, Forsyth County, Georgia. Not Atlanta, but a place with a dark legacy. In 1912, over 1,000 Black residents were violently expelled, turning Forsyth into an all-white county for decades. The shadow of that event lingered, with the county known as a Sundown area well into the late 20th century. Even in 1987, civil rights activists faced violent resistance during a Brotherhood March. While Forsyth has diversified, its history still shapes the community's atmosphere. Progress is real, but the legacy of exclusion is hard to erase. Forsyth is a reminder that a place's past can still echo loudly today. Next, Vidor, Texas, once infamous as a sundown town and a KKK stronghold. For decades, Black people were warned not to be in Vidor after dark, and attempts at integration in the 1990s were met with open hostility. The Klan's presence was public, and the threat of violence was real. Today, some say things have changed, but the reputation persists. Online discussions and recent incidents show that the undercurrent of racism remains. Vidor's legacy is a powerful example of how fear and exclusion can linger for generations. It's a place many still advise Black travelers to avoid. We now turn our attention to Harrison, Arkansas, a seemingly ordinary town grappling with a deeply troubling present-day problem. It's a place where the echoes of the past resonate loudly, shaping the experiences of its residents and visitors alike. Harrison is home to the national headquarters of the Ku Klux Klan. This presence casts a long shadow, influencing the town's identity and creating an atmosphere of unease for many. The KKK's presence isn't just symbolic, it represents a persistent ideology of hate and division. Adding to the tension are the openly displayed racist billboards that dot the landscape, serving as constant reminders of the underlying prejudice that exists within the community. These billboards are not just advertisements, they are symbols of a deeper societal problem. A history marred by violent race riots further contributes to Harrison's notoriety, leaving an indelible stain on its reputation. These historical events serve as a stark reminder of the deep-seated racial tensions that have plagued the town for generations. While some locals actively push back against this negative image, striving to create a more inclusive and welcoming environment, their efforts are often overshadowed by the persistent presence of hate. The presence of organized hate is impossible to ignore, with visible symbols and rhetoric permeating various aspects of life in Harrison. It's a reality that residents and visitors alike must confront. The town's reputation understandably makes Black visitors and residents question their safety and well-being at every turn, forcing them to navigate a potentially hostile environment with caution and vigilance. Even with ongoing efforts to promote diversity and foster understanding, the impact of these initiatives is often limited by the deeply entrenched prejudices that persist within the community. The shadow of hate groups looms large, casting a pall over the town and hindering its progress towards becoming a truly inclusive and equitable community. Harrison stands as a stark and unsettling reminder that organized racism isn't just a relic of the past, it's a present-day reality that continues to affect communities across America. It's still here, alive and well, perpetuating division and inequality. The constant need for vigilance and self-protection is emotionally and mentally exhausting, taking a toll on the well-being of those who are most vulnerable. And that's precisely why Harrison remains on this list, serving as a cautionary tale about the enduring power of hate and the ongoing struggle for racial justice. Southern Illinois brings us to Anna, a town whose name is rumored to stand for "Ain't No N-Words Allowed." Whether or not that's true, the reputation is so widespread, it's become a warning in itself. Anna's history as a sundown town and its overwhelming whiteness have made it a no-go zone for generations of Black travelers. The psychological barrier created by its reputation is as real as any law. Even today, the stories persist, making Anna a symbol of how folklore can enforce exclusion. Sometimes a name alone can keep people out. Pella, Iowa looks like a postcard with its Dutch heritage and tulip festivals. But beneath the charm, Black residents and visitors report a culture of exclusion and microaggressions. The town's insularity and lack of diversity create an environment where outsiders, especially people of color, feel unwelcome. It's not about overt violence, but about the exhaustion of always being the other. Subtle discrimination in housing and jobs makes it even harder to belong. Pella shows that racism isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a quiet, persistent chill. Vidalia, Georgia is famous for sweet onions, but for many Black residents, the experience is anything but sweet. The town has a reputation for racial profiling and discriminatory policing. Driving while Black is a real concern here. Lawsuits and stories of biased traffic stops point to a systemic problem, not just a few bad apples. Beyond policing, there's a daily undercurrent of racial tension in public spaces. For many, Vidalia is a case study in how biased law enforcement can make a whole city feel unsafe. Sometimes the sour taste of racism overpowers even the sweetest reputation. Maricopa, Arizona is a new city, but it's already developed a reputation for racial bias in policing. Viral videos and community complaints reveal a pattern of aggressive tactics and over-policing of Black residents, especially youth. Parents who moved here for safety now warn their kids about the police. The tension spills into the community, fueling suspicion and isolation. Maricopa's story proves that racial bias isn't just a relic of the past. It can take root anywhere, fast. A new city, but the same old problems. Leadership matters, and Maricopa is a cautionary tale. Apple Valley, California looks like a typical suburb, but lawsuits reveal a troubling reality for Black students and families. The ACLU sued the school district for failing to protect Black students from racial harassment and punishing them more harshly than their white peers. Confederate flags, slurs, and mock slave auctions were reported, with little action from officials. Law enforcement faces similar accusations of profiling and excessive force. For many Black residents, Apple Valley is a place of isolation and hostility, not the suburban dream. The fight for respect and safety here is ongoing and public. Shenandoah, Pennsylvania, became infamous after the 2008 hate crime murder of Luis Ramirez, a Mexican immigrant. The attack and the community's defense of the perpetrators exposed deep-seated racism and xenophobia. An all-white jury's failure to convict led to federal hate crime charges, but the damage was done. The incident sent a clear message to all people of color: you are not safe here. Shenandoah's story is a warning about what happens when prejudice goes unchecked. It's a place where economic decline and hate have become dangerously intertwined. Taft, California is an old oil town with a reputation for being insular and unwelcoming, especially to Black newcomers. The town's overwhelming whiteness and good old boy culture create a climate of exclusion and open hostility. Stories of racial slurs, Confederate flags, and housing discrimination are common. Taft's isolation, both geographic and cultural, makes it hard for outsiders to break in. It's not about headline-grabbing incidents, but a persistent, suffocating consensus that you don't belong. Sometimes the quietest places are the most unwelcoming. Levittown, New York, might seem like just another suburban town. It's not rural like some parts of the country, and it's certainly not southern, with its own distinct history. But Levittown holds a significant place in the story of American segregation, because it was intentionally designed as a whites-only suburb in the years following World War II. This wasn't accidental. It was a deliberate choice that had profound and lasting consequences. The development of Levittown reflected a broader trend of creating exclusive communities based on race. Racially restrictive covenants, legal clauses written into property deeds, explicitly barred Black families and other minority groups from buying or even renting homes in Levittown and similar communities. These covenants were a powerful tool of exclusion, effectively locking them out of not only housing, but also crucial wealth-building opportunities that homeownership provided. This denial of access to housing equity had a devastating impact on generations of Black families. This blueprint for segregation, pioneered in places like Levittown, quickly spread nationwide, becoming a standard practice in suburban development across the country, systematically shaping the landscape of the American suburb and significantly deepening the racial wealth gap that continues to plague our society today. These policies created a divide that is still felt. Even after legal changes during the Civil Rights era made racially restrictive covenants unenforceable, Black families who dared to integrate Levittown and similar communities often faced intense violence, intimidation, and relentless harassment from their white neighbors. The fight for fair housing was met with fierce resistance. Today, Levittown is undeniably more diverse than it was in its early years, reflecting broader demographic shifts in the United States. But the long and painful legacy of exclusion is still clearly visible in the persistent wealth and opportunity gaps that exist within the community and surrounding areas. The effects of past discrimination continue to shape present realities. The town stands as a stark monument to the pervasive and deeply ingrained systemic racism that has shaped housing policies and practices in America. Levittown's story, in many ways, is a microcosm of America's story, a story of both progress and persistent inequality. It's a story of segregation by design, with devastating consequences that continue to impact generations of Americans, perpetuating cycles of disadvantage and limiting opportunities for many. So, there you have it, 11 places across the United States, each carrying its own unique narrative, each with its own story of exclusion, a complex tapestry woven with threads of historical injustices and contemporary challenges. These aren't just statistics. They represent real people, families, and communities grappling with systemic issues, from violent histories etched in the past to subtle discrimination that persists in the present. We've seen how these biases manifest in various forms, impacting opportunities and shaping lives. The goal isn't to condemn every resident of these cities or to paint with broad strokes of negativity, but to raise awareness, to foster understanding, and to empower safer, smarter choices for everyone. By acknowledging these realities, we can begin to navigate them more consciously. We can't fix what we refuse to see. Ignoring the problem won't make it disappear. Shining a light on these realities, bringing them into the open, is the crucial first step toward meaningful and lasting change. It's about creating a more equitable future for all. Knowledge is a powerful tool for safety, for informed advocacy, and for driving progress forward. Understanding the landscape is essential for navigating it effectively. Share your thoughts, your perspectives, and your experiences in the comments section below. Let's keep the conversation going, respectfully and constructively. Your voice matters, and your insights can contribute to a broader understanding. If you found this valuable, if this information resonated with you, hit subscribe to stay updated with our content and turn on notifications so you don't miss future discussions. Thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one.